I'm the same age as Manny Pacquiao at 46, and my fitness is up and down. But let's talk first about what we're going to see Saturday night in this main event as Pacquiao, 4.5 years removed, from the loss to Yordenis Ugas, filling in for Errol Spence. And yes, we did see Manny a year ago and then maybe an ill-advised exhibition bout at 160 pounds where he wasn't in great shape. But when he goes in there against WBC welterweight title holder Mario Barrios on Saturday, straight up, how realistic is it that he could compete, or maybe that he could add his name to the likes of George Foreman, Bernard Hopkins, Archie Moore, these great all-time greats who have kept it going in their 40s?
Listen, if we were talking about anybody else besides Manny Pacquiao, I would say there's slim to no chance that he's even going to be competitive. But Manny Pacquiao is something special. He's something different. He's a one of one. There's never been a Manny Pacquiao. There never will be a Manny Pacquiao. You get that idea kind of nostalgically, like, listen, if anybody can do it, Manny Pacquiao's that guy. How realistic do I really think it is? I don't really know. We have a lot of questions. You mentioned that exhibition match versus a kickboxer that he did not too long ago, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that he didn't train for that. He just showed up. He said it was at 160. He looked fleshy. We've never seen him look like that physically. And from the reports that we see now, the workouts that we see from Wildcard Gym with Freddie Roach, he looks to be in awesome condition, even at 46. We were getting those old looks at him throwing million punches on the bags, him doing pad work, him doing the morning runs. My nephew was actually out there, sparred with Manny's son and did the runs with them, said he looked like he was in really good shape. So there's a lot of questions. We don't know who's going to show up. We got to see how much of that Manny Pacquiao of old is left in the 46-year-old retired senator. But I don't know. I'm still intrigued because it's Manny Pacquiao.
I mean, I'm with you. It's like, I think there's been times in the second half of Manny's career where the motivation, the training has dipped, right? I don't know if he came in world-class shape for that Jeff Horn fight. Yet a couple years later, he's beating Keith Thurman, handing him his first defeat and nearly becoming the fighter of the year at age 40 to become the oldest welterweight champion. You, of course, fought him when he was closer to his prime, and you were certainly in yours. Just on the basis of facing someone like Pacquiao, why is it potentially possible that he's the one of one alien? What does he do that might be able to still be there at 46?
Yeah, and I shared the room with Manny Pacquiao 11 years ago, and it was a little bit after he was starched by Juan Manuel Marquez, that scary face down knockout. And Manny made an adjustment after that fight. He was less of that forward, full on attack, shot out of a cannon type offensive machine that we saw in the lighter weights. After that fight, he boxed more. We saw more of his IQ. That was something that I really recognized when I was in the ring with him. I mean, his ability to make adjustments on the fly was super impressive. And I say to this day, I fought a lot of great champions. He's the best I ever fought. He's the best I've ever shared the ring with. His awareness in the ring, obviously the guy's got 60, 70 fights. You're going to be aware, but his awareness was next level. I couldn't believe how willing and able he was to be able to see when I caught his rhythm, and then he'd be able to adjust and change it on the fly. And I always say when it comes to being a world champion, you got to be able to adjust. And Manny Pacquiao is a guy who adjusted better than anyone I've ever been in the ring with. And that's what gives me a little bit of hope. Like, listen, this guy could still probably do this because he's adjusted as his career has changed. Guys who stay in the game long have to. You look at Bernard Hopkins, the same guy that was fighting in his 40s was not the same guy that was fighting in his early 30s or his late 20s. He got a lot of knockouts back then. He threw way more punches back then. But as he aged, you saw the boxing IQ. You saw more feinting, more footwork, more adjustments, more control, more ring generalship. And those are things that I think Manny Pacquiao actually does have in his toolbox that he can break out come Saturday night.
Maybe you answered this question already, but I guess I ask it this way, which is non-heavyweight edition, because like big George Foreman wouldn't really count. But for other fighters post 40 who won world titles, are there common denominators you can point to say they all kind of had X or Y, and that explains why they were able to win?
Yeah, and it comes down to ring control and being able to, I'm going to use a quote from my buddy and podcast partner and commentator partner, Paulie Malignaggi. He goes, those guys are better at old manning it, learning how to win parts of the rounds without having to work as hard. Because listen, 46 is 46. The post-40 body is a different machine than that early 30s, late 20s prime physique. So being able to, quote unquote, old man it a bit, be able to control the space in the ring, not have to work so hard all the time, Those are the guys that generally are able to excel even in later age. We saw in the Keith Thurman fight. I'll tell you right now that was not Manny of old. He had to be smart in there. There are times he didn't have that in and out. He had to stand and fight with Keith more than he probably would have thought he would. He took a lot of punches in that fight, but the power is the last thing to go. He still has that power, which is another common denominator of guys who fight on late. But I don't know, man. Manny, a lot of his style was based on pace and volume. That's a really hard thing to do when you're in your late 40s.
For our audience who maybe have seen Mario Barrios but don't have a clear picture in their mind of exactly how he boxes, what is Manny Pacquiao up against in terms of the things Barrios does as a threat, but also as targets of opportunity?
I mean, first of all, he's 30 years old. I mean, he's in the physical prime of his life. He's a solid guy. He's come up a lot of weight classes, but he's seemed to carry his power. He scores a lot of knockdowns at welterweight. Even if he doesn't stop guys, he's able to catch guys. He's a very sharp puncher. He's long. He's tall. I do believe he's the tallest person that Manny Pacquiao's ever fought. I believe he's 5'11", 6 foot. So he's taller than me. He's a little taller than Antonio Margarito. But, you know, he's got a good jab. He's got a really good left hook, especially to the body. Sharp, good fundamentals. He's a bit of he likes to scrap. He likes to be in there. Fights heavy over that front foot. So he's going to be there to engage. He likes contact. You know, he's a true Mexican warrior. Listen, if I was picking this fight from Manny 10 years ago, I think Mario Barrios is tailor-made. He fights heavy over that front foot. He doesn't vary that jab so much right in front of you. He engages a lot. He's there to be hit with the straight left hands. We've seen that in other fights in the past. But we're not talking about prime Manny Pacquiao. We're talking about 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao. So I do think we're going to have a lot of engagement. But, you know, is it going to be the young man or is it going to be the experience? That's really the question.
Is there a way to say how the height and reach differential might impact this contest?
So Manny generally was really good at fighting taller fighters. He liked fighting taller fighters. Me, Antonio Margarito, Oscar De La Hoya did very well against those guys. Even guys that didn't fight so much with their front foot. Margarito, very heavy on the front foot. Me, not so much. I was a boxer, but he was still able to close the gap very well. And the thing about Manny, the reason that he's good with these taller guys is because his first step. His explosive first step is the fastest I've ever experienced. His ability to close the gap, close the distance, throw that straight left hand with no fat on that thing right down the middle to split that guard, especially of an orthodox fighter. That's really going to be what I'm looking for in round one. If Manny still has that first step, if he can still fire one of those left straights right down the middle and split the guard of Mario Barrios in round one, we got ourselves a fight. But if we see him falling off balance, getting square, having slower feet, it's going to be a really long night for Manny Pacquiao fans.
Chris, you'll be in the arena, of course, handling the ppv.com live chat. We've seen great performances in the past from the likes of Jim Lampley, your colleague Dan Canobio, and so many others there. When you are in that arena at the MGM Grand on Saturday, and let's imagine a scenario that Pacquiao does this. You know, I mean, a stoppage win would be a lot more of a exclamation point, but even if we're waiting after a close fight to hear those scores, when George Foreman did that wearing the same trunks that he wore in Zaire and his loss to Muhammad Ali, it meant something different. What do you think this would mean for a fighter who's already in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, already is an 8-division champion? No male fighter's ever done that. Became literally a cultural household name doing karaoke on the late night television. But what would this adding on top of it mean? And what would you imagine that moment's going to be like if it happens on Saturday?
I mean, we're talking, this is historic, truly. And Luke, you alluded to it earlier. The sub heavyweight weight divisions are a lot more difficult to win titles in advanced age. Manny Pacquiao coming back, especially coming off 4.5-year layoff. It's not like he's been active. Even George Foreman, when he fought a heavyweight, he was active. He was building his way towards fighting to the title and being ready and finding that timing and that rhythm so he could catch Michael Moore. Manny's coming off the couch, man. Like literally, he's just, I'm gonna take this 12-round championship fight against a young 30-year-old champion. If he is able to pull this off, absolutely historic. I mean, Manny's accolades are through the roof as is. This would be another feather in the cap for sure. But I think it's just going to cement his legacy as being just one of those people who's just makes you think there's nothing this man can't do. He just keeps coming back. He keeps making you want to see him. He is a global star. He's one of the most famous people walking this earth even to this day. I've been around those crowds all over the world. Actually, I've been in Malaysia. I've been in Macau, China, and the crowds that come out for him. They still do. It's amazing. I mean, it would be an absolutely historic event if he's able to make this work.